The first part of getting over anything is admitting that you have a problem. If you don't admit you have a problem, then you don't take ownership. And if you don't take ownership, you're not taking accountability. And if you can't take accountability, then you'll never get anywhere. That's the first step in a 1,000-mile journey, microwavable culture. A lot of who we are today is made up of the situations we went through when we were younger. Good or bad, we all went through situations. But what happens when the bad outweighs the good? What happens when you went through trauma from yesteryear and you never figured out a way how to handle that trauma? But it molded you into the person that you are today. You feel like you're really not living a full, fulfilled life. Feel like that you always had a weight of the world on your shoulder. You didn't ask for that type of pressure, but somehow you carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You see people being successful. You say, I never can be that. You see your own people in your circle potentially doing things. They got lucky. Whatever. If I really wanted to, I could do it. You know, just that type of negativity, just that type of talk. Maybe you have a victim mentality. You ever thought about that? Now, no fault of your own. You went through a traumatic experience probably when you were younger. And you never found the right way to cope with it. Your way of coping with it was blaming other people. Nah, it's not my fault. It's their fault. Well, I had to go through this. They should have went through that. You understand? Like, tip of the iceberg. Bad things happen in the past and will continue to happen to you. Others are to blame for your misfortune. There is no point in trying to make it change because it will not work. And like I said, this is just the tip of the iceberg for a person with a victim mentality, right? And no one's coming to save you. Nobody wants to hear about the story. Like my aunt always told me, you know, Dan, you can't live in a story. And what she meant by that is you can't continue to repeat the same old cycle of behavior because you feel away and think that's okay. Think that the world is gonna give you a pass. Think the world is gonna feel sorry for you in a sense, right? Because ain't nobody gonna feel sorry for you. Only thing they care about is solutions. Do you have a solution to your problem? Because ultimately, telling the story is never gonna get you anywhere. And then you turn around and you be 50, 60 years old, and you'll have nothing because you didn't take the time to get your mental right. Time is precious. Time is valuable. But when you don't understand and you don't think you identify, and the world is wrong and you're right, then you may have a problem on your hands. That's deeper than just you having a bad day, or maybe bigger than you just being a hater. Maybe there's an underlying condition that you need to see about and you need to rectify. I mean, that's if you want to live a fulfilled life, because negativity can't breed a successful life. I mean, if you had that type of behavior and you had that type of mentality, then that's not the right mentality to have. Because in order for you to be better in this world, your mentality has to change. Because without mentality, you'll always be the same. Like, only you can change you. Now, far be it for me to say when anybody went through traumatic. You know, everybody's experiences are different. But at the end of the day, you need to take ownership of that trauma that you went through. Because a lot of people saw your potential when you were younger. And a lot of people, they didn't want you to figure out that maze that they put you on, let alone the maze that life put you in. You know, when you're born, you know, you're trying to wiggle out that maze. Trying to figure out, hey man, how can I make it to the other side without getting killed, without getting locked up, without getting maimed, paralyzed for life, you know, things of that nature. Like, how can I make it across the river and be efficient and be effective? A lot of people left you for dead. A lot of people didn't think you could wiggle out that maze, right? But they wanted you to suffer. They didn't want you to see your full potential. They wanted you to sit around and go in circles. Because when you have a victim mentality, you continue the same process over and over again. It's like you're on a hamster wheel. I've alluded to this many a times. You're on a hamster wheel. You're still on the wheel and you can't get off. But if you don't understand you're on a hamster wheel, then you'll never make a change. Because your mentality won't allow you to see that there is a problem there. And if you can't rectify it, then you continue that same pattern of behavior. And then what'll happen? Then you'll pass that behavior on down to your offspring. Do you hear me? Because everything has to start and stop with you. I mean, nobody cares, right? Solutions. How did you wiggle yourself out the maze? Because it tells a better story that way, right? Like, circumstances make people, right? Like, your circumstances define who you're going to be. Everybody's circumstances are different. That's why you can never compare yourself to somebody else, because your life is different. Nobody's life is the same. We're all different. We're all unique in our own way. But you got to figure out a way to tell your story, to rise above, because they don't want you to do that. They don't want you taking ownership of your life and being successful, being a boss. You understand? Like, they don't want that. They want you over here self-sabotaging yourself, never identifying that, hey, man, there's a problem here. I'm not just a hater. I'm dealing with baggage from when I was 5, when I was 6, when I was 4, things of that nature. Like, the mental will tell a story that you didn't even know was there. You just got to check yourself and figure out, who are you? Why are you the person you are to this day? Because a lot of it is held in your childhood. I found out, last year, had a conversation with my brother. He said, D, you always wanted to do things your way. You always were stubborn in that way. You would push the cart. Dad would push the cart. You would push it. Then he'll show you how to push it, but you'll go right back to pushing it your way. Then he said he had to tell Dad, like, yo, Dad, he's doing it. He's just doing it his way. And I never knew that. Now, as I'm older and everything, and you kind of, woke in a sense. I don't want to use that term loosely. I'll let y'all define if I'm woke or not. But, when you kind of awaken from your adolescent state, from your childlike thinking, you say, damn, I do think different. I do want more. I do want better. I do want to move a little different. But it was all rooted in me being stubborn from a child. So that's my why I am the way I am now. Why I move the way I move. You got to really look, really tap in, really understand, hey, what's going on here? Because if you don't understand that you have a problem, then everybody in the world will look at you and say, hey, you have a problem. But until you self-diagnose it, until you see it for yourself, it'll fall on deaf ears. And you'll never be able to realize it. Because you have to realize it. Nobody can realize it. Worst thing in the world for you to do is walk in this world and not realize who you are. Not take ownership of who you're going to be. And let people tell you who you should be. Because if you don't rectify it, and you continue living in that story of the victim mentality, no one's coming to save you, right? Like, you got to save yourself. You got to really say, hey, this is my life. I only got one swing at it, and it's life, right? Unexpected. Things happen to people. You'll be naive to think that something wouldn't happen to you. But do you have the right mindset to adjust your mindset and say, hey, I'm going to be better than these circumstances I'm given. I'm going to rise. Because they don't expect you to, right? You didn't have to be taught how to say, I can't do something, right? You didn't have to be taught that. You just knew how to do that, right? It's crazy to me. But teach yourself, I can, I will be better, right? Empower yourself, because ain't nobody going to empower you. And if they do empower you, it's because they want something out of you, right? Empower yourself. Be better. Find out what's wrong so you can live a full, fulfilled life. And you can lead the people that you need to lead, because you're a leader. You only follow them because you think that's you. I'm here to tell you, it's not you. You can be better than that. Identify what's wrong with you and make the requisite change. Get that mentality right. And never let them write you off or say what you should and should not do. A lot of people do. Microwavable. Y'all know what it is. Till next time.